Hello, good evening. Let me just get the camera right. Good evening. It's Tuesday. I know folks are going to start trickling in just a moment, so I'll talk a little bit for the folks who will see this later. We've got some folks starting to show up. If you have questions, comments, concerns, throw them in the chat. This is run very much like a town hall that you would see, where I may have something that I talk about, and then I answer questions that are put in the chat, just like if you pass note cards up in a regular town hall. So just some odds and ends for the week. Business cards are going to be ordered soon, so hooray. That'll be the first time we've paid to have something professionally printed. Kind of excited about that. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, long, long ago, I actually worked in printing and marketing. So that's sort of one throwback, is I really like having something on nice paper. So, while I'm waiting for any questions that pop up, instead of today talking about rage, and oh my gosh, there is just so much to be had with how we're treating veterans, with how we're treating the disabled, with how we're treating lots of folks that need our help. I want to start forward looking, if at all possible. And so in the coming weeks, you may start seeing people doing Maine raising videos, and I'd like to encourage you to do your own. So to do a Maine raising video, what you're going to do is create a little sketch or skit of you purchasing something from the Maine 2nd Congressional District from a small business. Buy anything you want. Make sure that you prominently show the Maine raising note. So either show it on the screen, sing it, make sure you have a screenshot of it, and show yourself purchasing and doing Maine raising. Add music, have fun with it, have a blast. You're going to start seeing those coming out. I might even do one, although I'm not very funny or interesting, so you might not want me to do it. But anybody's welcome to do them, and I think it'll be a lot of fun for all of us. We're going to be doing that for the next few weeks. So I haven't had anything drop into the chat yet. If you have any questions, please go ahead and drop them in the chat. Other stuff that, gosh, I don't know if it's lighter, a little lighter. So Maine's in a pretty not awesome drought. A lot of Maine is in a drought right now. One of the things that is going to happen increasingly with increasing frequency with climate change is we will see more droughts. It impacts crops, it impacts wells, it impacts our ability to provide foodstuffs. So it also it increases disputes between neighbors fighting over water. We don't have that quite as badly in Maine as, say, the West Coast, where you have entire states getting into it with each other over water. But that is something that you should be mindful of. Hopefully it will pass pretty soon, but most of the state is in a fairly decent state of drought right now. I don't think it passed by the time that I started this, but I know that we've got some veterans that were sitting on the steps of the Senate, hoping to see legislation pass that protects people who've had exposure and health effects from burn pits. So that is something that hopefully will get passed soon. There is some really unfortunate shenanigans going on right now where it's not uncommon for legislators to swap votes or withhold votes or trade votes. I personally don't like that mechanism, but a lot of people in DC employ it. My personal philosophy is generally either a bill's good or bad. The good ones are never perfect. There's always some compromises you have to make. But there have been some withholdings on things like the PACT Act, which is funding the veterans. There have been some threats to withhold protections for same-sex marriage. And that is what I would consider bad legislation, or bad legislating. If you have a representative who's doing that, please communicate with them. Let them know that that kind of politicking is not okay, and it doesn't get us to a better set of rules and a better set of society. I still haven't seen any questions drop in, so I don't have a whole lot for this evening. If you have questions, please put them in. There's a lot of stuff that's pending. There's recess we're in or looming where Congress is going to be off for a while. Oh, something exciting. I feel a little bit like Legally Blonde. We should have our snaps going here. But I did RSVP to the first debate for this fall that's coming up in late September. I'm very excited about that. Not sure if the gentlemen will show up, but if they don't, I'm going to be there. So that should be exciting for everyone. I really like the debate format. I think it really gives the ability to kind of suss out who feels where on what, and it's so much more comprehensive and has so much more depth when you have a third person in there. So it's not just team A or team B. You really get a lot more nuance, and I love that we're going to have that potentially in our debates, assuming everybody shows up. So I'm very excited about that. This is an administrative week for the courts, so I'm doing a lot of catching up around the office on paperwork. I'm doing a lot of filing, everybody's favorite. And then coming up this weekend and pretty much every weekend through the election, I'm going to be at a variety of events and fairs. And so you'll be able to see me out and about. I don't have a whole lot of campaign-specific events set because what I have heard from folks is they want to be able to run into me into the community. However, if you do have a group that would like to have me attend either virtually or in person, please feel free to send me an email. It's tiffany@bond4.me. If I'm not otherwise obligated, I'm happy to show up in person or virtually, just depending on what makes sense for where I am geographically that day and what's in the schedule. And as long as I don't have another obligation, I'm happy to be all yours. So you will see me at a bunch of those events. I'm going to keep doing. Melissa is very kind. She says that I have great energy tonight. I have had a heck of a day, and I am very much going out of my way to make sure that it ends on a high note. I have been in a feud with my printer today that has decided it only would like to print from the manual feed tray, and I appear to have just conquered it in the last few minutes. But it's been a journey today that we've been on together. So yeah, you're going to see me at a lot of events. If you have events you'd like me to show up at, let me know. The feedback that I've gotten so far is even these town halls start a little slow, and they'll build and get a little bit bigger as we get closer to election. But folks have said they want dedicated ways to reach me virtually. They'd like to see me out and about in the community and just be available to people, let people know where I am, and I'm pretty recognizable in public, even though I'm boring middle-aged mom. And there's a lot of boring middle-aged moms that attend a lot of the events that I go to. I'm usually fairly easy to find. I wear a name tag when I'm out in public. So folks have told me that they really want to be able to see me and then also do something in their community. I think that's fun. Why not? And folks have said they want me to be as accessible as possible with emails. I don't do a lot of phone calls because those are very hard to get scheduled in my schedule. But particularly, emails, being able to send direct messages, and being able to connect. If you aren't in Maine, or even if you are, the 2nd Congressional District is kind of enormous in Maine. And it is a real haul to get from the bottom to the top of it in any given day, if that's your journey. It is. We have tons of towns. We have over 375 municipalities. So there's always something going on somewhere. And it's a very large area to try to stay connected in. So you'll see a lot of digital outreach. If you would like to volunteer, we're starting to get into the part of the campaign where volunteering is certainly kicking in pretty enthusiastically. I already have about 100 volunteers. You're certainly welcome to join. I'd love to have you. Volunteering can be everything from a little to a little bit more. Usually we ask people to, work with your capacity. So, and for anybody else who's joining, if you are interested in getting any questions answered, please drop them in the chat. We've had a few people come in. So if you're interested in volunteering, it can be everything from a few minutes a week online, sharing stuff on social media, talking up the campaign, texting people you already know or friends. I think that I will probably, I've been on the fence on this one because it's a bigger expense than I like to have in campaigns. I try to run really low dollar campaigns, but I might buy a voter list this year. So if you would like to send a note card or a postcard or greeting card, or do a Maine raising and buy a greeting card that you then send to a voter or a neighbor, I will have addresses available, presuming that I go through that purchase. I should know that in the next week or so. And there's just going to be a lot of little opportunities. Most of them are going to be opportunities that are easy to do, particularly if you have a lot of social anxiety or you find it stressful. There certainly will be opportunities for people who don't have social anxiety and would like to go door knock. Some people really like knocking on neighbors' doors. Some people really just like talking things up when they're shopping. And this campaign is very much powered by gossip. We are trying to see how much money we can suck out of campaigning and push into the communities. And that requires us to have a lot of volunteers willing to do a little bit, and to be very nimble, and to be creative in how we reach out to people. And that's what Maine Raising is all about. It's being creative. We can also put window signs up in our windows. I've already got 4 live. If you got some ideas that you would like me to include, I'm happy to do those as well. I haven't had any questions. I'm not sure if any of the folks who've come in have questions. The way that we run these town halls is very much, I just start chatting. Sometimes I have more directive than others. Today's a fairly loose day. And they'll get more structured as we get closer to the election. And then if you have any questions, you drop them in the chat. I'm happy to answer almost anything. I haven't been asked a question yet I wouldn't answer, but it's the interwebs, so I'm sure it's a possibility. As far as coming up, the next digital opportunity to connect with me, I'm 50%. There will be a breakfast with Tiffany this weekend. I have an event that I may be at that may not make that possible. I'm still trying to get enough follows on YouTube that I can do live on my phone. Right now, I can only do live on my computer. Very difficult to do that out in rural Maine, as I'm sure you can imagine. So that's something that I won't be able to sort of take the town halls with me until I have that capacity. So if your friends follow me on YouTube, it's a pretty easy, free thing to do. I try to find as many free, easy, low commitment ways to help as possible. It looks like we don't have any questions today, and it is a beautiful night out, or at least it was. It looks like it might actually be graying up a little bit, and I do have my children going to something fairly early tomorrow. So if there aren't any more questions, I might call this an early evening. I will see you either Saturday morning or next Tuesday. Keep an eye on Twitter. That's where I post the links to the digital town halls, and if there's going to be an adjustment in time, I let you guys know there. And if you have any other questions, you can email them to me. You can find me on Twitter. And we have a new mailing address on it's up on the website. It's Post Office Box 1311 out in Rangeley is a new campaign mailing address. So I'm going to call it the evening because I haven't had any questions. Thank you for joining me, Melissa, and all the others who have popped in that haven't dropped in the chat. I will see you online, and I hope you have a really terrific rest of your week and enjoy the first week of August.